Welcome back, my nomads. Welcome back to another Bitcast. We back at it again. I'm here with Cash and Prince. What's going on, yo?
What's good?
What's going on, man? How you been?
Chilling, chilling. All right, man. The kiddies are asleep. It's past my bedtime, so you know what that means. It's time to get in some sinners talk, bro.
Let's do
All
it.
right.
Well
Let's do
overdue.
it.
Well overdue, by the way.
Yeah, we late to the convo, but
Super late.
Yeah. It's all good. We all busy. We got kids and shit, you know.
y'all
So
got kids.
yeah, we do.
Here you go.
We do. So I want y'all initial thoughts of the movie. I know Cardell, you've seen it more than once. Give me your initial thoughts. Just an overall, and then Prince, you give me yours.
Uh, Correct. I saw it twice opening weekend. I don't know what format you guys got to see it in. I saw it twice in IMAX. I strongly considered driving up to New York to go find a 70 millimeter IMAX to go see it in. But I was like, nah, Chris, you know where it's at in
Right.
Delaware. So I just ran up there. I went and saw it. I saw it once solo, saw it once with my girl. And I loved it. She loved it. Bro, like, it was so, like, I just felt like it drew me in, like, especially, like, I don't want to get too much into actually going into describing the movie just yet, but
Mm.
it really does a good job in the first act of, like, kind of, like, bringing you into the setting, right? Bringing you into the story. Because, like, 30, 40 minutes in, I'm like, damn, I forgot this was a vampire movie. But it does such a great job with the developing the characters and their depth that, like, the movie was phenomenal. I loved it. I low key I want to go see it one more time because it's like some things I want to analyze, but we'll get into that a little later.
All right, Prince,
Yeah, no,
your thoughts.
I feel the same way. Like I was like very few movies I feel like that do like time period pieces like this, like really make you feel like you're there. And I felt that immediately. Like Carl, to your point, like I felt like we were in Jim Crow South. Like I felt like I could feel the Mississippi sun. You know what I mean? I felt like I could smell the things they were smelling. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
again, not to get too much into the details of the movie, but like you know how us like amongst us black folks, we always talk about like Negro spirituals of like listening to certain types of music and like you get this feeling that you can't really quite describe. This film came probably the closest I've ever been able to like manifest those feelings like physically. And I feel like that's been something that people have been talking about, you know, across the internet. I mean, obviously we're not the first people to do a review on this movie, right? But like people have been echoing those same kinds of sentiments all over the internet, at least from what I've seen.
Right. I feel you on that. So I saw it twice. I'm jealous that you got to see it in IMAX and I didn't. But kids and timing. Um, so yeah, like I freaking loved it. It reminded me why Ryan Coogler is on my top list of directors, writer directors, because he has no L's. All his
None.
shit is fire. Like, I mean, Fruitvale Station, Black Panther movies, uh,
Creed.
the Creed, first Creed.
Yeah,
Like,
he don't miss. He don't
he
miss.
don't he,
He
he
don't
don't
miss.
miss. And
Spout.
y'all
Might be time
touched
to have that
on.
conversation.
Yeah, he got no L's. Like, y'all touched on it. Like, he has a way of making his worlds feel real as hell, tactile, whether it's, Creed where it's realism or whether it's Black Panther, a fake city, but you feel like it's really there. He has a
Yeah.
way of making it feel real. And, it's crazy that this movie is 2 hours and 17 minutes, I think. And I would say like an hour and a half of it, there's no supernatural, there's no action, but you
Hmm.
like, damn, like, you know that they're coming, but you're like, damn, like I'm immersed in this world. Like he's
Yeah.
putting so much history in this that it feels so real. And I want to touch on something that you pointed out, Prince. Like I didn't even realize this. Like the way it talked about like Negro spirituals and stuff like that. Like man, like I feel like a lot of movies like Color Purple, Amistad, stuff like that that touch on this time period. It's kind of like what's it called, like suffrage, like I don't know, like suffering porn or whatever, or
Yeah, I
corn.
get what
I
you're
can't
saying.
say.
Yeah, like the whole like 12 years a slave vibe.
Trauma
Kind
porn.
of thing.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's
Trauma porn. There
thank
you
you,
go.
trauma
Yeah.
bone. This one was like the celebration of the South, the celebration of black people and where we come from, and like what's his name said. I think his name is Slim. Delroy Lindo's character. He said, this music, it wasn't forced on us like the religion was.
Right.
This music
We
we
made
brought from
this.
home.
Right.
And I was like, damn. And you like every time he sang and like you could just feel the pain and the trauma, but all they could really do was just let it out through their art. And I'm like,
Um,
damn.
that
But
speaks for another point. Another point I wanted to make is that reflects back to Sammy's decision at the end.
Mm-hmm.
we're
Yep.
getting into it. All right, let's go. We're
Um,
getting into it early.
I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but
It's all
excuse
good.
me. That just there was a parallel there where it connects his decision at the end, which I thought was really interesting when he's dealing with Remick at the end, and he starts praying, and Remick starts reciting a prayer, and
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I remember saying these words, when they came and forced it upon us. I'm
Mm-hmm.
paraphrasing there, but he was like, what I mean, it didn't work, but the words brought me comfort. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That was a dope little dialogue scene because it was kind of like I feel like Carl, to your point, like it was to your point and to Slim's point, like hammering home that like this is for us. This other shit that was brought on you is not going to save you. It was never meant to save you. And I loved that dialogue scene because it was like you're sitting there about to meet your maker, and the person who's getting ready to unalive you is sitting there finishing your prayer for you. That's like some of the most diabolical shit that I can
So,
think of.
I was gonna ask y'all, do y'all think Sammy made the right choice? But I think y'all just answered it for me. like,
I'm gonna say
I'm
yeah.
gonna
I'm gonna
say
say
yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna
all right,
say
because
yeah.
I've seen takes, because this is like such a cultural movie. I'm just watching all these, all people like us reviewing
Mm,
it, and I've seen a lot of people that's like, that kind of had a sour note about the end, about his choice. I'm gonna say as a black man who was raised in the church, I was literally in the church like almost every day of my youth. Father was a deacon, mother was a deaconess. I agree with his choice. You know, um, did y'all peep at the end when he comes home? Like, so he's going through this traumatic night, right? He almost dies, and not just in a regular way, like a supernatural, crazy ass way. He goes back to something familiar, and that's he goes to the church. He grew up in the church, even though he's not really a church dude. He grew up in the church, and he goes home. He goes back to what he seems familiar, as we all humans tend to do. Did y'all notice the reaction he got from his parents, from each one? His mother was concerned. His father gave him a sanctimonious preaching speech. You know, I think that also spoke to his decision. I think that also was what led him to get out that church with his guitar. Because I mean, he's sitting there, blood on him. He got like scratches on his face. I'm like, yo, that looks crazy what he got on his face. And his dad doesn't react, doesn't say anything about it. He's just like, son, I want you to. And I'm like, you're not even going to react. It looks like your son got attacked by like a mountain lion or something, and you, you just sitting there talking about this guitar in his hand that's not even. It's like broken. Like, I think
Well,
that's another.
Nigel, to hammer that point in about kind of like Sammy having to choose between the church essentially and his music. I've seen a lot of people talk about this too, kind of the symbolism of after Remick finishes the Lord's Prayer for him, then Sammy hits him over the head with the guitar, and the silver from the guitar is
Mm,
what kind of immobilizes Remick, right? So it's like him in that moment being confronted with like, yeah, this whole religion shit, it's just not going to help you here in your darkest hour.
Right.
This is though. This might. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
the
like,
music literally saved him.
right. So like that's not lost on me that like, that's clearly a bit of symbolism there to show kind of like, him making that decision. Like it was, to me, it's very clear what the right choice was. I mean, Sammy's still here, everybody else ain't, right? So
Um,
I don't know.
Not just that, the whole purpose of Remick coming after them was because he thought that Sammy's music could connect him back to his ancestors. And as we saw with that beautiful display they did of his song, with it
Hmm.
tying to the ancestors, like the past and the future. Um, that also goes to show for me, it's like, no, like this is giving us our connection.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I thought that was beautiful, especially that scene where he's playing the song in the juke joint.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that, and I when I was watching the movie, like in the movie, when that scenes came on and you started to see like the past and present and future start to all be blended together, I was like, in that moment, I was like, see, this is a scene that if not executed perfectly, can
Falls
take
apart.
people out of the movie.
Yeah,
Especially Nigel, because what you
yeah,
said earlier about like the first like hour and change in the movie, there's nothing supernatural happen, right?
Yep.
Nothing supernatural has happened yet, right? So like you
Hmm.
get thrust into this scene where you start to see it kind of like blend past, present, and future. And like again, Cardell, to your point, I thought it was beautiful. Like for me, it worked because again, it was manifesting physically on screen those feelings that all of us talk about that we have, whether we're at a fucking cookout or we're at a family reunion, and like we hear certain types of music, and I feel like it just it hits you in a way that you can't quite fully understand. And we joke about connecting to the ancestors all the time, but like in this movie, in that scene, like they actually show it. Like no, like this is how we're actually connecting with our roots, which I thought was handled masterfully.
uh, actually, kind of building off that, one other thing I found interesting, tying tying back to the religion a little bit there. Um, the only religious aspects that showed to actually work was Smokes Girls stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, we gotta
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. We got because we all black here, and we know how history has betrayed us, specifically in entertainment in the media. I think it's funny, and I love that the villain in this is actually an ancient Celtic man from Ireland. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny, ancient like I don't know mythologies or whatever. When they're European descent, their magic is called magic. It's beautiful, it's mystical. But when it's
Mm-hmm.
black,
Fairy
it's
tales and
voodoo, it's
shit.
hoodoo.
Yeah.
It's evil, it's dark. It's
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
no,
Devil's
no,
magic
no,
and all that shit.
no,
Yeah.
no. So I
Black
love the fact
magic.
that it,
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that he used that as a way to take back, our magic, basically, to bring it more mainstream and to take the stigma away. Because plenty of times you see it, it's like, oh, it's evil, it's hoodoo, it's voodoo. Da, da, da.
Right.
Like, nah, bro. Y'all was doing the same stuff. Y'all just gave it a bad name for us. We see that all the time, man. But I just love how music is displayed in this because I mean, music is a universal language. You see it all
Right.
the time. Like, I mean, there's songs that you don't even need to know the words of, but it'll move you and it's emotional. And I like how in the movie, it's not just universal. It's like it's transcendent. Like you can go through time and it connects all your peoples because and I don't know if you look at these videos of old tribal black African tribal dances, and I'm like, oh, that's what we do now. We just call it twerking, or that's what we do now. We just call it the Harlem Shake, or that's what we do now. Dot 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 dot. It's like these dances and these rituals are just cycling through history, and we're just giving them different names. So I love the fact that in that scene you see them crip walking, you see them twerking, you see them twirling
everything.
around, dancing, ballet. You see
Pretty much
everything.
like in an entirety of the history of like music that we've influenced, just all
Yes,
in one big beautiful scene.
yes,
And like you said too, Nigel, not to cut you off, but you talked about music being a universal language, like them showing ancient Asian cultures as well too. You know what I mean? Because they had the
right.
Asian homies in there too. So, you know what I mean? So again, it was just showing everyone just being connected in that universal language, being able to like connect to their roots through music.
And
So
shout out to Ludwig Göransson for that soundtrack and how he blended all that together. That was amazing.
So, kind of, Chris, building off what you said there, I want to get into some questions, kind of pertaining to the music to start with. Um, we were joking uh, off cam before we started here that Remick had the juke joint lit outside
Yo,
with his robot,
Diddy,
right? But
Diddy,
One, two,
yo.
3, 4, 5.
but I say that to say, very interesting how, despite that, he couldn't use his music to reach his ancestors. He
Mm-hmm.
needed
I think
Sammy's.
that's because he was turned into a vampire. I don't know. The movie doesn't clarify it, so you gotta speculate.
It doesn't, but I don't know. The way I was reading into it, I assumed that he was turned into a vampire, but he's been a vampire for a long time,
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
like I
yeah,
think he was
right?
15th century or
Yeah.
whatever.
So he's been
What he
at
says
the point
tells
in
you
the
early.
story, he's been a vampire for like 300 years.
yeah. At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why he thinks racism is like a foreign thing. Like he's like, no, we
Yeah,
celebrate
Yeah.
equality here. Like,
that was the funniest part. Was like when they asked him like,
Oh, it's because
wait,
we're
yo, are you in the clan? He was like, whoa, bro, like I might be a blood sucking vampire,
hold
but I'm not a
on,
fucking monster.
hold on, but it also shows how he was still a scumbag because when they asked him that, I mean, the two people standing behind him was
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but it also shows you how you
hive
know
mind at that point.
yeah, these
Yeah.
vampires in this universe, they're hive minded, so he doesn't consider them separate. He considers them as a part of himself. So he's like, oh, this is because we're no, sir, we're not part of that. You know, it's like,
But
oh, okay,
That's another thing I want to
sure.
talk about. They're a part of him.
Mm.
They're not all a part of each other. They seem
Mm,
subject to his hive mind.
Yeah, he knows what they
For
know,
the
and they know what he knows, but they don't know what everybody else knows.
yeah,
right.
and it seems like he has some sort of influence over their actions
Oh yeah,
Right.
because like
once they've been
smoking,
controlled.
I mean, stacking them, they was all acting like him basically when they were connected to him, like all
Right.
Yeah,
like roses, singing along, and then once he died, it seemed like he got his own
which I also think
constitution back.
speaks to a another larger theme, kind of overarching the movie as far as um, assimilation and losing your identity as part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Which I just think was important because it was like, all right, well, like you said, we don't have racism and stuff, but at the same time, it's all just basically your thoughts, and we all got to do basically like what you see as family, what you see as love. We don't get to keep our
Right.
traditions,
Our version of what we think love is and how we express our love to each other. It's all about what you've programmed us now, essentially.
right.
hmm
Which is why, you know, when Smoke dies, right? It's like, all right, he's keeping his version.
Right.
He's gonna go die and go beyond with the ancestors with his lady
Right.
and with his child. Instead of being confined to your version of love, which means I can never actually cross over and be with my people. How
Right.
Stack is, he's never gonna be able to see his brother. They never gonna be able to
Right.
see the son again.
Right.
right.
Right. And Cardell, you said something earlier about assimilation, and it's revealed in the movie that Mary's character is part black, right? But obviously she appears white, right? It's made even further interesting, when we find out like Haley Steinfeld, the actress, she, one of her grandfathers, great grandfathers, was also biracial or whatever, right? So it's
Mm.
I'm certainly it was a discovery moment for her, but to make the point here about assimilation, her having blackness in her family, but then, being the one that's like, let me go out there and talk to them and see if I can, get some money from them. It's, that kind of allegory about like, her being able to pass as white and being able to try to do things that maybe people who appear more black than her may not be able to get done. You know what I mean? And it obviously backfiring for her too. So, Cardell, to your point about assimilation, I think that's I wouldn't say a cautionary tale because I don't want to
But you
try to
see
put
her
my opinion
rebelling
on.
in the movie.
Yeah, and she does, but I mean, I think the point still stands that like she was like well maybe I can go talk to them. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you
I
know
think
what I
it's an
mean.
allegory to the foolish ally who thinks, oh well, I can go help solve it because I've
Right,
got more proximity to them because we look the same. I'll be able to talk to them, figure out they're good people. Well, you're dealing with
right,
vampires. You're dealing with this. Like it's not
right,
just the person you're dealing with. You're dealing with this bigger thing.
right,
That's like you as one person just trying to talk to
right.
is not gonna fix it.
Yeah, no, well said, well said.
It's also the
Now
cautionary tale of you can pass, but you choose to be with us, but you don't really fit anywhere because they're still going to
Right.
look at you like, oh, you're
Hmm.
back then. They used to be like, oh, you N-word love, like So it's like you got to be careful how you move because he kept telling her like, yo, you got to get out of here because either I'm going to get killed or they're going to kill you for being around me. Like
that
so,
was actually hilarious to me because Remick and him couldn't get in. He was like, "Oh, it's because we're," and then he goes, "How'd she get in?"
I
So
know.
hilarious. Even he's like, "All right, well, if that's what's going on."
Yeah, he's like, can't
I
we
just
all
thought,
just be family tonight? Can't we all just? It's like,
and
nah, bro, get out of here.
I also want to take a quick detour just to talk about the humor in this movie. There was a ton of like well placed like comedic points in there, comedic
Yeah.
relief,
Oh yeah.
to kind of break up the tension or transition to other parts. Delroy Lindo's character was hilarious throughout the movie,
Yes.
bro.
I love Delroy Lindo. I
He
love
never
anything
gives a
he's in.
bad performance, yo.
Never,
He
never.
always kills it,
Bro,
yo.
he had me weak. Like from the start when he was like, and how about and all the beer you could drink, all the Irish beer you could drink. Yeah, he started doing. I was screaming, dog.
I was
He
dying.
was hilarious. The whole cornbread scene when he's coming back
Oh
trying to
yeah,
get in,
Oh yeah,
that is hilarious.
yeah.
yo, what's his name?
Why you
Omar
can't just
Miller, yo. He
walk your big
hilarious,
ass
bro.
inside, man?
Well,
I
that
just love how
wouldn't
he was
be
like, well, "Give me
very
my money."
polite. No, Claire, you bring up a great point though. Like this has like obviously like horror elements, but I feel like the tone of this movie is balanced so well. Like at no time was there like a comedic moment that didn't land. Like everything was timed perfectly. Like this, I feel like this movie was written so well because like they knew when to bring in, you know, the comedic moments in the midst of all this terror and just fucking bloodshed, right? And
But
like
it
they
felt
didn't miss with
natural
any of it.
Yeah,
because
it all felt
that's how
natural.
we talk. Like that just
It
he seemed like my uncle. He seemed like my other uncle. She seemed like my auntie.
Remember again, Nigel. You mentioned that the first hour or so of this movie does not contain any supernatural plot lines, right?
No.
So like
we're just seeing
for an
him set up the
hour,
juke joint.
you're just learning about these characters. So like when Slim's character says, "I think I shit myself," it lands so good because you know who this you've been introduced to this guy and learned and been hanging out with this guy for over an hour already before anything real pops off.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
like
he
when
was
he
about to
says
pop
something
off
like
on
that,
Sammy.
you
Like,
believe it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
you know he a
And it's
OG.
like
Like he was like, boy, I'll cut you right here if this
Right.
wasn't your cousin. Like what?
and there's
All right.
lots of little stuff, that is just like our humor, right?
Right.
Like when Pearline doesn't want to eat the garlic, He points a gun at her.
Yeah.
I was like,
Right?
yo, shoot this chick, yo.
Right?
Mind you, yo, for real, honestly, like that was one of those moments where I was just like, I suspected. I was like, oh my god, she's clearly a vampire. Because like I was like, yo, like
She was fighting that way too hard.
you walked here. Sammy went down on you when you was out there walking in the Mississippi sun, yo, and you not trying to eat no garlic after what Sammy was just got done eating. You better stop playing, girl, and eat this fucking garlic.
There's a meme that says, "This is how you know women ain't shit." Because Sammy went down on her muscle ass, and she couldn't even eat no garlic for the team. Like,
but
yeah, that's crazy.
But it is stuff like that. Like,
oh
well, turns out I had to take a shit. It's probably that stale ass grease you cooked that fish in. It got, like stuff like that. That is just
but
like
we've heard conversations like that.
Oh yeah,
it just feels so natural.
And even when you hear that in real life, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Right. So like so natural and just like so us. Like it comes off, and that's part of what helps with the immersion.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of that
was genuine.
Yeah, genuine. None of that felt forced. None of that felt like it was somebody in a writer's room writing that. No, just feels like niggas with suspicion.
Yeah.
Why you can't just walk your big ass inside?
And then everybody started looking at him differently, like, huh? Yeah, why? Yeah, why you being weird, dog? I didn't think about it at first. Why you being weird?
It was like, even little. Wait, what?
Right? Even him saying, "Be kind to one another."
Yeah. That was out of pocket.
That was a big red flag.
Out of character. Yeah,
big red flag. That's Remick. That's Remick.
Right.
That's Remick talking, because Remick doesn't understand their culture and what they've been through and why we ain't just all kind to one another.
And we don't say shit like that. We don't be like, be kind to one another. Like,
he don't understand that we don't talk like that.
Nah. So it was like, you ain't say that. Who said that? That was weird.
Yeah. There was, but yeah, I felt like the comedic timing and the comedic relief throughout the movie was perfectly placed, and like you said, didn't miss on really any of them. No. One other thing I want to talk about is I want to give hats off to Michael B. Jordan. I think he did a really good job.
I think he did a fantastic job,
particularly playing twins and making them both like stand on their own. You don't.
Yeah.
I wasn't going back and forth like I'm confused which one. They both came off as their own characters.
Yeah, agreed.
No, like brothers, like twins, the same person. Sometimes
I'm always amazed at like when actors play two characters. Like Cardell, you know this about me. I don't know if Nigel does, but one of my favorite movies of all time is The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. And so I love when actors play two separate characters. And like to your point, Cardell, like I never felt like I was mixing up Smoke and Stack. Like when Smoke was on screen, I knew who it was, and when Stack was on screen, I knew who it was because they had different mannerisms, they had different ways that they talk. Like Smoke was very, very serious. He was the get shit done, get business done brother, and Stack was the.
I don't even think he smiles in the movie.
He does it once. When,
that's a good
point. He wants to hold the baby,
right? But that was one thing I noticed to help like me differentiate who was who.
Right.
Stack was always smiling, scheming.
Yeah. Oh, only gods can judge me ass.
Yeah, I mean, he's running around the slickster. Like he's really the one I think was setting up the plays with Al Capone up in Chicago. He was the one getting sneaky.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that.
I mean,
you can tell by their.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say on the second watch through. I was trying to look at other things, like obviously you have the red and blue that sets them apart as far as the colors that they're wearing. But if you actually look at their clothing, right, you can tell which one was running with the Italian mom, which one was running with the Irish.
Yep.
See, like, I was just about
mainly
to say
based off the hats
and
and stuff, right?
Ruthie Carter, the award-winning costume designer. She even did the Black Panther films.
I was gonna say she did Black Panther too, right? Yeah. So,
you can tell,
and to that point, you see a trend. I mean, obviously Ryan Coogler, he's had Michael B. Jordan in all of his movies, right? But like you start to see a trend with like recurring people, like in the cast or behind the scenes, like with certain directors. I mean, a lot of directors do this, right? James Gunn does it. Like he has his brother in almost everything, right? I mean, like he works with a lot of the same people. I mean, and you Christopher
Adam
Nolan,
Sandler.
and
Tarantino.
you see this, yeah. I mean, all the big time directors do this, right? And I think it's it's for good reason because like these people have chemistry. They I've worked with this person before on however many projects. I know the vision that he's going with. When he says he wants to take inspiration from XYZ, I already know what he's thinking about in his head. All I gotta do is manifest it.
Yeah, even people behind the camera, he's worked with them before. Like his cinematographer on this one, I forget her name, but she did the Black Panther films and stuff like that.
Right,
And Ruth
right.
E. Carter, his longtime collaborator with costumes, man. Like I like how I mean, that's her job is to tell stories through costumes, but you can see how like Stack seems his fit is more clean. Like it's his
Hmm.
suit is fitted, it's
It's more of a
nice. It got
modern fit. Yeah, it's
yeah,
got
it got
yeah.
it got
Yep.
more bling to it. Whereas Smoke, he's actually huskier because he's hiding stuff in his clothes. He's hiding guns and stuff like that, and he just carries himself a little more. He got the world on his shoulders, so he looks a little heavier. He walks a little
But like you
heavier.
said, the difference in his suit, Stacks is more of the Italian cut, and Smoke is more of the
The
Irish, right?
Irish,
You got
Yeah.
you
Smoke
could tell by the
out here
hats.
getting his Peaky Blinders on. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that, man. It's so crazy, and we could talk about like the symbolisms, how to tell a story without telling a story, like how when you first meet the twins, it's Smoke. The way they frame the shot, Smoke is framed by the house, whereas
right,
Stack isn't.
It's
You
framed
know
outside and foreshadowing to who's going to be where later
exactly.
on. I also thought it was cool how they just showed like how connected the two twins are. How
Mm,
um, Smoke can't smoke without Stack
mm-hmm.
facts.
because he's got the
Facts.
tremors probably from them fighting in Germany. He can't even roll. So
Nah, that was like
Yeah.
heartbreaking. That part. I
I
don't
thought
think
that was
some people
I thought
caught
it was a
that.
great
I
detail.
don't think
I
a
thought
lot
it
of
was a
people.
great detail though.
Yeah,
I thought
I
that was a
really
great
liked it.
detail. I don't think a lot of people necessarily caught that
Yeah.
going through, but I was like I remember watching him, be like, damn, that's interesting. Like, because I see him, he wants to smoke, and his brother hands him the thing. And I'm just like, all right. And then like
Every
just
time.
throughout, I'm like, bro, I've never seen him roll his own.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas like
Yeah,
And
it's
then
even
you,
like talking
you
to his brother in the room, he's like, I need a fucking smoke, and his brother's like, coming right up.
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Y'all peep at the end when Annie gives hands over the baby to Smoke. She's like one before she does that, she's like, put that cigarette out. I don't want to get any smoke on her. I'm like, damn, the double meaning of what she just said is kind of crazy, man. And
Yeah,
that's another heartbreaking thing too. I don't want to get any smoke on her. And that's the first time when she hands her the baby over, you see Smoke actually smile. And at that point, he's no longer Smoke anymore. He's Elias or Elijah. I forgot which one is which. But he's just him, and he gets to pass on. I think at that moment, he actually passes on. Or
yeah.
did he shoot the dude first? I mean, after that. I forgot.
no, he shot the dude before he got the baby.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
aired
Okay.
him out, aired
Okay.
him out.
Yeah, he did.
And I loved
gave
it,
him the
man.
whole, gave him
I
the
love
whole
that
Tommy
part.
gun clip, and then
Yeah.
he went and got his
He,
child.
What
the
yo?
whole
So
clip,
I
man.
gotta ask you a question about the plan showing up at the end too, because that was always going to be the plan, right? Like they fake sold the juke joint to them so that they could like kill them all in the morning.
Yep.
And like in that post credit scene with Stack and Sammy, Stack kind of sounding a bit remorseful and kind of talking about even though before all that shit happened, it was the best night of my life. Or Sammy said that, whoever said it.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
before all
Sammy.
that shit happened, it was the best night of their lives. And for a couple of hours, they felt free. They felt like they could be themselves. They felt like all this other shit about like living in Jim Crow, Mississippi didn't mean anything for a couple of hours. Um, so like, I want to get y'all's take on just kind of the clan showing up at the end, and that all that even if the vampires never showed up in the morning, they were all going to get attacked, and a lot of them are probably still going to fucking die
Right.
regardless, right? It's like I want to get y'all's take on that and like what that kind of means.
So, one, I got a little critique there because I'm like, usually the clan shows up at night. But that's just some That's a little critique.
Fair, yeah, yeah.
Two, I
But
thought it
they
was
couldn't
a
show up at night because the vampires were out. That might just be plot armor. We might just have to
yeah,
explain that away with plot
it
armor.
is a plot hole, but a little
Yeah.
plot armor. But two, I think it speaks to what Stack said, right? Where he says, "This ain't a fucking juke joint. This is a slaughterhouse. You know, this was always a plan. We ain't gonna be free, but this is how we can be free."
Right.
And I wanted to ask y'all, if you was in this movie, would you walk outside and be like, "Yo, bite me then," or would you just stay a human? I mean, you've gone through wars, right? If you're Smoke, you've gone through wars. Well, no, let me not say you Smoke. If you're just you and you're in this time period, you're in Jim Crow, you're a sharecropper. You're getting called nigga every 5 seconds. You ain't got no money, and this is the first time you feel free. Are you getting bit or are you not?
I would have to say I'm not going to get bit, but I do understand this movie's like shaping of like turning into a vampire, like why that could be tempting.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, and like Remick is like trying to like kick game to them. Really, it's like, look, I can make all this pain go away, all this pain go away. I mean,
Right.
especially being in the Jim Crow South when you get the Klan on your back, it's like you're telling me I could be like almost indestructible. I could have some real fun down here, big dog.
Bro, I'm doing
You know
some
what I mean?
clan cleansing.
Yeah, I could be really cleaning
I
up
could
down here.
I could certainly understand the like the urge or the sentiment for somebody to want to do that.
But I think that's the
Um,
point. That's the
yeah,
point, is for it to be tempting.
yeah.
Mm.
I did want to kind of circle back a little bit as far as with the Klan showing up
Mm.
the following morning. They had said that there was no more Klan that started the movie when they were selling them the place said was no more Klan, and I think that's just a parallel to how some of those people with those viewpoints have transitioned to just to other manners. A lot of those people, those guys showed up, I believe, were either had badges or were sheriffs and things like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
yeah,
So they didn't need to come in the nighttime hiding. They've got a different costume on at this point, but it doesn't require a mask.
So maybe
right.
that was the
That's a
decision.
great point.
Maybe
That's
that's
a great
why
point.
it wasn't that they like to be an allegory of, hey, like nowadays people are like, racism doesn't exist anymore. You know? And we all know it does. It's just in a different way. It's more upfront in your face. It's more um, subtle, nuanced, as
Right,
opposed to like outright, hey, you damn. Well, there's still some
right.
people out there, you know,
Yeah, but
calling
it's
people
more
niggas.
cultural conditioning now than it is anything
Exactly. It's
overt.
Yeah,
redlining, you know,
Right.
just
it's
because
these laws that are
just
getting
because
broken.
it's not in a Klan mask or just because it doesn't explicitly show a swastika on there doesn't
Right.
mean that those actions that follow aren't reflecting that viewpoint in that angle.
Yeah,
Facts.
that's a good point you brought up. That I hadn't thought about. Card. That was a
Yeah, I ain't think about
good little
that.
nugget. Yeah.
To answer your
Yo,
question though, Chris. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did y'all peep at the end that Sammy's club is called Perlene's? Kind of heartbreaking, but
Yeah,
Yeah, her husband got
um,
to be sick. He don't know. She walked out there,
I don't think
and
she was
that's
married. Yeah, I think
and
she
that,
was lying, bro.
and that she walked out there in that swamp humidity. All right,
oh, and
got to that
got that
juke
thing
joint.
tore up.
She was up there crawling on all fours on the stage while everybody was in that bit sweating.
Hey yo.
Look,
Shout out to the mayor of Gotham, dog. I'm just
Yeah,
saying. I
Jamie
didn't
Lawson.
know. I did
Jamie
not.
Lawson. I know.
I
hey,
had no. Look, she got
I'm a
my
married
vote.
man,
she
but
You
got
know
my
what I
vote
mean?
for Storm.
yes, yes.
Ooh. I won't get
Yeah,
sidetracked.
I won't
Because
get sidetracked, but yeah, she goes up there, she performs live. You know what I mean? Crawling on
Yeah,
all fours on stage in the juke joint,
she
goes in
was
the
not married.
utility closet, gets that thing munched on. Okay, is then giving all this pushback about eating garlic, gets turned and then gets bodied.
yeah, she had a night, man. She had a night.
Husband, like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow, and it's just
She wasn't married. She lied. She lied, bro. But
But you know who was married and was out there showing her
Mary,
ass? Mary. Yo.
Mary.
This is one of those roles
Josh Allen's
where
sick.
people.
I know he was in the
Here's
house
the thing.
punching
Here's
the
the thing.
air like Trey. No, look, come on. Now.
This is one of those roles where like I really feel like someone who started as a child actor gets in a role like this and it's just like, yo, I'm not a fucking kid anymore. Like I felt the same like when I saw like Zendaya in like Euphoria. I was like, okay, this is a completely different role for you. Like you're not. This isn't the usual kind of role that you play. Like,
I mean,
Yeah, that's
right.
a change my brand role.
yes, 100%.
Stop marketing me as iCarly spinoff or whatever. Like, no, you got to market me like an adult.
100%. Bro. When I was in the theater, I was in the theater by myself, and I was sitting next to two ladies, and Stack and Mary are hooking up in the closet, or whatever. And he's like, "Babe,
You drew.
you drooling," and she was like, "You want some?" I was like, "Yo!" I was like, "Yo, they're
Nah,
having a party."
hear me out. Right when Smoke first go to visit his shorty, right?
Mm-hmm.
She put her hand on the pack, and I don't know if she's speaking Creole or what, but she
I don't
said,
know
"Your
what
body hasn't forgotten me."
I'm
Well,
done.
fold it like a lawn chair, boy.
Let me tell you something. There is not a scenario
Oh,
in this movie where I don't give in to any of these women.
right.
Perlene, Smoke's wife, Mary. I'm cooked. And we all know what happens when you have sex in a horror movie.
Now I'll tell you who I'm
Uh,
not giving into. Okay, Grace, that bitch.
All right. So there's been
All
a
right.
lot. There's
We
been a
gotta
lot
speak
of
on that.
backlash for her. So
That's
we got to
a
speak on that.
Hold on. We gotta speak on that. Well, before we speak on that, I just want to say, you notice how a lot of sex talk in this movie is about oral stuff. Men talking about doing oral to women. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now, Grace, let's talk about the one who's not invited to the cookout, as opposed to her husband, Bo, who is invited to the cookout,
I got something to say about this too.
who has
I got
Nah, go
something to
his
say
ahead.
about this.
store on the black side of town, while his wife, Grace, has her shop on the white side of town. And notice when shit goes down in the juke joint, she like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't agree to help them on this, but Bo wants to
Mm-hmm.
stay and help. And it's just that it's such a commentary about how Asians and black relations have been in America for a long time because the government has continually given um, Asians capital to set up shop in black neighborhoods, and that was the deal in the contracts. You can have this business, but you can only have it in the black neighborhoods. And so what do? They have it in the black neighborhoods, and sometimes you get Asians who are down who are invited to the cookout, and you get other Asians who are like, "Hurry up and buy! What are you doing back
Right.
there?" That's Grace. She wasn't down for the cause. She wasn't down for the people.
But
Bo
you
was.
know, even more so to that, Nigel. I think it's a perfect allegory to the struggles in racial relations in this country of various different people of color in America, right? Because
Mhm.
I loved that line when she was like when Bo was like, "Oh shit, we gotta fucking help," and she was like, "Look, we said we was gonna help them get the party together. We ain't said we was gonna help with this shit, right?" And that's just a perfect allegory to racial relations, right? Because it's like you
Mhm.
know. It's that old saying, everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. You know what I mean? Everybody want to
Yeah.
be down and hang out and be with us, set up shop in our community and be our friend when everything is good. But when shit hit the fan and we need people to actually stand next to us side by side, and
They
fight
gone.
injustice, then it's like, hey, but we with y'all, but we ain't really with y'all like that. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a
Facts.
perfect
Man,
allegory.
that's why your husband got
Yep.
bit.
And sacrifice all them people, not for the greater good, and not even for the good of her
But
daughter.
for your vengeance,
For her own personal selfishness, because
And this chick
the daughter was
innocent as
safe.
hell.
The
Yeah.
daughter was safe. They wasn't going nowhere because they wanted Sammy. They wasn't going
Facts.
nowhere.
right?
He was just talking shit. And you
Yeah, it
notice
was going to
how
be there.
She
They was gonna
wanted
be
to
there all
die
night and
and
then go
burn
hide in the
the whole
woods
world
when
with
it's
her. And I'm like, come on, bro. You just ran in there with fire and just killed yourself and your husband. That was it.
yeah, and then she
That's
got
not solving
bodied.
anything.
She got
Yeah,
bodied on the first one she came across
Her
yeah.
for
husband.
You know,
nothing.
it's always one, man. All right, who's worse, her or Star Lord?
Mm.
Her. Well, actually,
Yeah.
nah. Star Lord. He caused the whole half of the galaxy to
Half the
Uh,
universe to get
disappear.
I
snapped.
don't know.
I don't know,
I
bro.
don't know though, because looking at Endgame and seeing Thanos come back and almost do it again, he feels kind of like a force of nature. Like if it wasn't Star Lord, he was
It
gonna
would have
he
been
was gonna
something
find a
else.
way
In
to
hindsight, we know that
quit my ass that day.
Star Lord had to do that for everything to go the way it went for them to win.
That's
So
true.
But are we
There's
just
no such
Monday?
story for Grace.
yeah,
There's
there's
no
no
such
such story
Monday
for
morning
Grace.
quarterback.
She's a
Yeah,
pack. Her husband's a pack. They're just
yeah,
packs now.
yeah. Grace. And my thing is too. I mean, movie BS. Every single movie on the planet has to have a certain amount of bullshit for it to happen, right?
Yeah, it means
My thing
vampires.
is, as soon as she starts talking shit to Smoke, I'm like, somebody knock this chick out. Cause she gonna do some drastic shit. She's making Molotovs,
Oh,
and she talking out her neck. Like, knock her
let me tell
out, put her
you.
in the
Let me
closet.
tell you. Forget knocking her out. If you would have shot Pearline overnight eating the garlic, I would have shot her for flipping out. Sorry, your husband already turned. You're a liability in here. I'd have popped her, and that would have made sure everybody else was. I'm not going to
Just
say
stay in
nothing
line. Yeah,
because
I'm
you're
not.
going to die either way. You're going to die
I'll
outside.
be
You're going
there.
to die in here. But either way,
I will
That's
spend the
true.
night in here with a bunch of corpses.
Because
Y'all
the
better
rules
stop
okay.
aren't
playing with me.
clear about who can let them in. So I'm guessing if you're in the vicinity, it doesn't
If
matter
you're
if
in
you're
the vicinity
homeless,
and you say
you can
come
invite
in,
them in.
Right.
So she could have said it in Chinese and Mandarin or whatever, and y'all wouldn't have never known.
no.
So knock this chick out right now. She speaks a language you don't speak. Knock her out right fucking now and get this over. She made me
Yo,
mad.
Remick is a wild boy though for telling her he was like, yo, I know everything. I know how you like to be touched, Grace. I was like, oh, Remick, you tripping, big
Yeah,
dog.
he told her he knew how she liked to be licked. He's a sicko
I
for that.
was like,
and
yo,
and
I was like,
that
yo,
piggybacks on what I forgot which one of y'all said it, but like they have no agency. Like he thinks what they have is his now.
Yeah.
right,
So like he's like, yo, after this is done, if you turn, I'm gonna lick you the way you want. I'm like, ew, bro, you kind of nasty. Bro.
yeah,
that's,
freak
that's
boy,
that's his
yeah,
wife, and
freak
then
boy,
her husband in the back, like, yeah, like,
yeah, freak
yeah.
boy. But I gotta say though, I know we brought it up before, but since we're around that part in the movie, man, I'd be damned if the vampires didn't have that shit jumping out there that night. That
Bro,
shit looked like
Eh,
a whole lot of fun.
listen,
yo,
ain't enough Jameson in the world that would have brought me out there playing the thing.
I'd have still been inside, but I'd have been looking out the window like,
yeah,
Nah. I'm gonna tell you what had me backing
hey.
up when they were trying to get in. They was playing a little tune
oh yeah.
when they joined and
I picked poor Robin clean.
look,
I
Yeah.
picked
Stack was he was like,
Just being a clown back there. Yeah.
I'm like, are you listening to the words? They're talking about cannibalism. Like, bro, what are you talking about? That Jaber lad, I picked for Robin. I'm like, listen to the words. These guys are crazy. Close the door. Like y'all
um,
sitting there
I wanna
staring.
I wanna talk a little bit more about technical aspects of the movie. Like little things like the lighting. When Mary brought her stupid ass outside and was trying to talk to them, right? And they were playing when she walks out and they're playing their little song while they're sitting out there on the log, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as they're playing, there's no other background music. You just hear them playing their voices, their instruments, and you see their faces, and it's kind of dark outside, but there's just enough light illuminating, but you see like these shadows on their eyes where you can't necessarily
Yeah,
like really see their eyes. Little
Yeah.
things like
yeah.
that brought
I
in the
peeped
fear
that.
factor.
Yeah.
I don't know what the audio experience was like for you guys. If you, Chris, did you go IMAX?
I did not.
Um, IMAX really just brought another feel to it, bro. And I'm anticipating they're probably going to re-release it around Halloween, so you might get another chance to go see it in
Please
IMAX.
God do that
But
because
bro, little things like when Smoke goes to talk to Annie, right? The first time, and he's at her place, and she's talking to him about the like the the demons and the monsters and all the like the mythical stuff that they believe in, and you can hear like this rumbling and shit in the background, like just like the touches there where it just helps build, and especially like in the IMAX, that should start like building a feeling in there. They did a great job, I think, with the cinematography as well as like all the audio that was done throughout the movie.
Shout out to
Well, I
Ludwig
mean,
Göransson.
this movie is almost a musical to that point, Carter. Like this movie is a blend of comedy, horror, and a musical, all wrapped into one.
Yeah, it's kind of what they wanted Joker 2 to be.
Leave it to us to do it better, but excuse me,
God.
digress. But yeah, like, cause when I first saw the movie, I'm like, yo, this looks different, man. Like, what? Why does it look like this? This looks different. And I was like, did they shoot this on film? And I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, they shot everything on IMAX cameras on film. I'm like, okay, that's dope. That's why it feels so tactile. That's why it feels so real, And shout out to Ludwig Göransson, who's a longtime collaborator, who composes all of Ryan Coogler's movies. I just because I'm listening to the soundtrack, and I keep going back to "I Lied to You" and listening to how Göransson transitions from the juke joint to Remy outside. And I love how he uses Sammy's in your arms, how he holds that note and it changes, and it's almost like a banshee cry it turns
Mm-hmm.
into, and it just keeps going. It's like it's like this unsettling sound, and then you just see
Mm-hmm.
Remick and the other two people standing out, and he's just staring. And Remick is crazy because it's like Remick at that moment kind of looks like a crack fiend who just saw a crack rock, and he's just sitting there like looking at like I don't think he was drooling, but he might as well have been.
Yeah,
That's how he
he
was
was so
looking.
drawn to it. Yeah,
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 like he was just looking at it. I just love like the
and you
the
know and you know
technical musicality of it.
and to that point too, kind of getting into Remick too. I feel like there's not enough being said about the actor's kind of charisma in playing that role. Like he found
Shout
that
out
perfect
Jack O'Connor.
balance. He found that perfect balance of being charismatic
Mm.
but terrifying also. Like when he's talking, it's just like, oh, like you know what I mean. This this dude can talk. Like he got the gift of gab. You know what I mean. But then like he has these moments, and to y'all's point, it's the way that the movie is scored and the way that it's shot. Like when you zoom in on some of these frontal shots of Remick, like he looks fucking terrifying. And like the effects that they do with the little eyes, just that little bit of touch is like it's enough to just make you just fucking just like curl up in your seat.
Can I just say, I'm just glad that we're finally getting back to vampires being scary as fuck again. Because for a
Yeah.
while they were Twilight, they were these soy
Yeah.
boy, pale boys looking
Oh
all
wait, oh
with the
wait.
messy hairs.
I saw on the internet one of those memes where it was like Kevin Feige watching Sinners, wondering why he didn't ask Ryan Coogler to direct
Yeah.
Blade.
Blade. Yeah,
For
man.
whatever
That's
reason, they
a
can't get a Blade movie off the ground.
Yeah,
that's a miss.
yeah, yeah. That's a miss. That's a miss. That's a
I'm
miss.
like, but you waited too
Well,
long.
hey, it sounds like Wesley was right in Deadpool.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's only
it's
ever
only
going
going
to
to
be
be
one
one
Blade.
Blade.
Nigel, like you being more of a film buff than like me and my brother are, like I don't know. I found it so refreshing that we got a fresh IP that wasn't based off of like a comic book or some other fantasy book or something else that popped off in the box office. It was good, like, and like we didn't need. It wasn't like a movie that set up for something else. It was just your good old fashioned standalone, horror flick. And
Yeah,
honestly, like if you'd have told me, oh, vampires in Mississippi Jim Crow era, I'd have been like, what?
Because they already
But
tried
it
that with
works.
what Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer or whatever it was called.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
Fell flat. But
Abraham Lincoln.
Right. Right.
And you look at that movie, I didn't watch all of it. You look at that movie, you could tell that was like made by a committee. Whereas this, it feels like this was a love letter to the South, because he talks about Ryan Coogler talks about how this is about, loosely on his family, and how his Uncle James growing up would always play blues for him. He would always walk to his house and just listen to the blues with his Uncle James, and this was like his homage to his Uncle James because he loved the blues. And so you can kind of see the love and the care in this. And like you said, this is an original IP. I love that. But I also know by history that Hollywood takes the wrong messages from original IP. Like, there was a time in 2000 when The Matrix came out, an original IP, smash hit. What did Hollywood do? They took the wrong message. They're like, oh, they'll come and watch it and think it's cool if everybody's dressed in black. So the X
Yeah.
Men were
Black
dressed in
leather.
black.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
yeah.
everything, every action movie, black leather, black leather. I'm like, you took the wrong message.
Well,
Yeah, and it's
the message they should be taking is to go ahead and let the proven creatives do what the hell that they do and get the hell out of their way. And I think that might be part of the reason, if he was offered a role from Blade, he might have turned it down. I don't want to go back. I mean, I've done 2 Marvel movies. I know what kind of things I
right.
got to do, because I got to leave stuff
You know the
open for
formula. Right.
sequels. I
Right.
got to
Right.
leave stuff open for tie-ins. You got certain people you want in the movie. I got to put product placements. No, I'm going to go ahead and do this original IP. I've built a rapport with the studios to where they say this guy does nothing but he doesn't miss. So we're going to step
I
back and
mean,
let
he
him
made
do it.
$2 billion movies, so
Yeah.
I was just saying to y'all's point. Like, I mean, again, like this isn't. I don't think a director gets this kind of opportunity to make to where a studio will put this kind of money behind an original IP unless you have the kind of track record that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan have,
And
right?
even still, his budget, I mean, considerably lower on this than most of the other movies that
$90
he's done.
million. Can you
Well,
imagine if he
here's
did
the thing
shoot
though.
this in
Here's the thing though
IMAX? It would have
too.
been cheaper.
I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like though we've been kind of like our view of movie budgets has been skewed because a lot of people who follow movies now are following movies only because of like big tentpole comic book films, and those movie budgets are always outrageous, right? So like compared to a movie like this that doesn't have a ton of CGI, it's like this is what a regular budget is supposed to look like. It just doesn't have to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what
I
I mean?
mean,
Because you're making Batman versus fucking Superman.
I mean
You
to
know,
be to be fair, people forget that John Wick, the first one, was a indie film that almost got shut down because it kept losing money. I mean, it couldn't get funding. It was like made for what, like 40 million or something like that. So come on, people, take the right lessons from this shit.
but they're not going to. The lesson they're going to take is, okay,
No,
we
they're
just
not.
need to throw 300 million at vampires in random time periods and hope that makes us a billion. And when it
I
loses them
think
200 million, they're going to be like, what went wrong?
so. Yeah, so maybe I think they might take the lesson of like, we just need to put a bunch of black people on screen and put it in the South, and it'll work. I'm like,
no,
I
but
think that's what they're
they've
gonna
done
do.
that. They've done it a bunch of times though. I mean,
But yeah,
we opened the pod with talking about trauma porn. Like we've done that. We've been through the whole. I mean, how many fucking slave movies can you watch? You know what I
bro.
mean? I have a general rule of thumb now. I'm not watching any more slave movies. I'm just not going to do
No,
it
I watched.
unless you guys are going to make a movie about Toussaint. Then I'm good.
I'll check that
I'm good
out.
on. I would
You know,
definitely check that out. But
Django, where I mean, he gonna be shooting niggas up. I'm for that.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but
You know
If
what I mean?
people want to make,
I'm not here for the
I'm not
children
here
of
for
slave
just
anymore.
it's just
I mean,
Suffering
nigga
people
2.5
getting his
people will
hours.
ass
come to
whooped
the
and
movies. They'll make a thousand
his
movies
chick
with
get.
somebody killing Nazis, but where my movies
Yeah,
at where we killing Klansmen? You feel
right.
me? Oh, but they don't want to do that, and we know why.
Well, they did it here,
Yeah,
They
and
do.
it was great, and it was glorious.
it was great. Yo, my boy opened up the crate and started getting busy. He said, "I brought this back from Germany. You got me chopped."
I love the fact
Right?
that they use the term "we gotta go to the trunk on them." I love that. And then he
Yeah,
actually at the end, it's an actual
pop the
trunk. Like,
trunk.
oh, he actually popped the trunk on him, bro. I was like,
Yeah, he was.
damn.
Yeah, he was not. He was not playing.
Crazy,
He was
bro. I
not
can only
playing.
imagine if Stack was there to back him up. It's
Oh,
crazy, bro.
they be halfway to L.A. by now.
They be
What?
chilling, bro.
Out of here.
But I love that he knew he just wanted to die. I mean, he lost his woman,
He lost.
he
I
lost
mean,
his
he lost
brother,
his woman. He lost his brother. He
Lost his
already
he
lost
lost
his
brother.
baby.
everything. And he
He
Like,
even
already lost
said,
the
"There's
baby.
no
Yeah.
me without
fuck it.
him.
Yeah.
Look,
He was the best part of me."
the juke joint was losing money anyway.
Right?
You know what I mean? So it was just like, hey, bro, I'm
Yeah,
just
he
gonna
was like,
clean these.
"Whatever
I'm gonna
happens."
clean these goofies up, and then I'm going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Like he lost everything. He said, "There's no me without him. He's the best part of me." Like he lost literally everything. He was like, "Yo, if I get killed, I get killed." I'm surprised he lasted that long.
And he
Like,
still saved Sammy's life.
yeah,
Yeah.
Made him
and he
promise,
still
nah, you
made,
gotta.
yeah, he still made his brother make that promise. Like, but
And he knew
yeah,
he would keep it because that's his brother.
Yep. Yep.
facts, fact. And
Yep.
Remy, I mean, maybe he wouldn't have kept it if Remy was still alive, but he did keep it because Remy was killed eventually at the end,
Yeah.
and his brother
Yeah.
got
That,
away.
that
So
that's a good. I wonder about that. If Remek never died, considering the whole hive mind thing, do you
he would
think?
still be hunting.
So my theory is that it couldn't have. I don't think the hive mind was like 100% like full control. I think it influenced but wasn't full control
Yeah, it was
because
more influence because
once
they
he
got away.
killed, remember, Mary and Stack ran after he killed Annie.
Right. 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 So it's not like Night King level
Yeah, it's
of
more
hive
like a
mind.
cult. Like it's a cult
Yeah,
mindset, but you can
Right.
still run away. Like you can still be
Right.
like, "Oh man, like I don't know, let's get out of here."
Yeah,
Let's
like they
not
don't
drink that
always
juice.
travel in fucking packs and are all holding hands everywhere they go.
because like I said,
Yeah,
they still have like their minds and their thoughts and their emotions and stuff. So they were still upset. Like, no, bro, like we love Annie.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Like
what I
they
mean?
was, he was pissed. He was like, "Yo, why you had to do that?" Like I was like, "Damn," like he was beating
Yeah,
his
it's
ass.
like,
Like, "Yo, you killed her, man. You
yeah,
supposed to
because
already
that's
got
what. No, you
Yeah.
got a hole in your neck.
Yeah.
yeah, that nasty
You know
chunk
what I'm
out of your
saying?
neck, bro."
Look at
Oh my
cornbread.
god.
Look at his mitt. His shit all. You know what I
Oh yeah,
mean?
the whole movie. That joint ain't heal
Yeah.
at
No.
all, man.
Yo.
He looked nasty, bro. And he was
Hey.
chilling. He's like, faced all nasty, man. But yeah, that shit was crazy, man. I love this movie, man. I would see it a third time, but I'm gonna see it a third time if it comes out in IMAX, and I hope they do a re-release. They already did a re-release,
I think
but I
they'll
hope
do
they do it
another
again.
one probably closer to Halloween. It would make sense.
That would be
Yeah, it would
dope.
make
If
sense.
they do that, I'm gonna dress up like Stack.
And
That's like my Halloween costume this year.
I don't know about y'all, but for me, this is the best movie I've seen this year so far.
Yeah. For me, this is movie of the year.
Yeah,
Easily,
for
easily
sure,
movie of the year for me.
easily.
And I know it's still the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I hope the academies take note because we've all tapped out of the Academy Awards because I
I don't
realized
care if
a
they
while
do.
ago.
I don't care if they do.
I realized
It'd be
it
nice. It'd be nice for it to get recognized, but it's already recognized.
that's
Yeah,
true. That it's living rent free in our heads, and it's gonna keep. We still gonna be quoting that movie. People still quoting
Oh
it
yeah.
now. They're gonna be quoting it next year, the year after that. They're gonna be saying
Oh yeah.
coups now. They ain't gonna be saying
Oh yeah.
what they
My
talk about.
wife my wife can never drool around me after this movie.
yeah, sicko.
Yo, you a wild boy, man.
Shout out my boy Preacher Boy though. You know what I mean? All the real eaters out there.
Word.
Preacher boy, yo, preacher
Yo, can we
boy.
talk about how Miles
I ain't
Catton,
sharing
this
no
is his
blunts with
first
him,
movie
yo.
ever?
Yo, yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah,
He
that's
snapped.
because I would have never thought that was his first role. Having watched him in
Word.
this movie, I thought he was great.
He had
Yeah,
to
he
learn how to
snapped.
act, and he had to learn how to play the guitar, and he killed both of that shit.
Yeah, he did.
And that's his
He was doing
real
the singing
voice.
too, right? Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I thought because I thought his speaking voice and his singing voice was a voice he was doing. No, that's how he really talks, and that's because I remember him way back in the day, I saw that viral video of him singing because his whole
Oh, so
family.
he talked like he was born in the Mississippi Jim Crow South. That's how
No,
he
I mean
talked
like
regularly.
his register, like how deep his voice is. I thought that was fake, but it was.
Oh nah, man, nah.
That's
You,
really
you
how he
don't you don't
talked.
you don't sing blues like that with a regular voice, bro.
I mean, you could fake it. You could fake
You can, but not for long. You can't fake that shit all the time.
it.
That's
But
your,
like that's his
that's a
real
hard thing
voice.
to fake.
I'm like, Dad, like he grew up. I remember him seeing a viral video of him singing with his little high voice because he was a kid, and now he got this low register voice. He's like, they call me preacher boy, you know. And I'm like, dang man, like you
You know,
19, they talking like that.
I'm
Oh,
glad you bring that up too, Nigel. About like you've seen him as a kid because it's like me and my wife right now we're doing a Wire rewatch,
Hmm.
and it's like seeing Michael B. Jordan his start as
Yeah,
Wallace. You know what I mean? When he was like, I mean, he couldn't have been no older than 14, 15. You know what I mean in that role, and like to see like everything he's been in through all his Ryan Coogler movies and everything else, that he's done outside of that. Seeing him come into his own and like really, I mean, he's at the peak of his powers right now. It's just so cool to see like you know from his very first role. I don't know if it was first role, but the first time I seen him on the Wire to now, it's just like it's incredible to kind of see his journey.
Kugler and
um,
Jordan are like Jordan and Pippen because their careers wouldn't
Yeah,
be where they would be without each
without
other.
each other. Yeah.
uh, there's one thing in the movie I wish I would have seen more of, which is the Native Americans.
Oh, shout out to them. Shout out to them.
Right?
How do we make
They
it this
tried
far
it
without
on us.
talking about them? Shout out to them.
I
They tried
completely
it on
forgot to
us.
bring this point up, but um, didn't get to see a lot of them. I want to see because they was on Remick ass.
They
We
was
see
on
that he
Remick's
can
ass.
kind of fly. I don't know if he can just leap really far, if he can kind of like glide or
Yeah,
whatever. But you
yeah.
see him jump down. The sun's coming up. He's hightailing. He's running for his life out there. They on his ass, and Native Americans, they get up there. They knock on
They
the
was about to
door.
fuck him up.
Shorty answer with the door. He see the Klan thing in the back. He like, look, we try and help. And she like, nah, fuck out of here. He like, all right, I ain't gonna ask you
All right,
twice.
bet.
It's about to get dark.
Damn.
We out of here, and we
Yeah.
don't see them no more. But that also goes. They learn their lesson about what I mean, trying to assimilate and make goodwill where goodwill don't want to be met. So they
I
was
was
like,
gonna
all right, we
say,
going out of here.
Carl. I think that was a great allegory too about their place in America. It's just kind of like, hey, man, look, we're not about to get involved with y'all because everything y'all touch turns to fucking ash. So we're just gonna remove ourselves.
I
We're gonna
offered
get
you
out of
help
here.
once, and you pulled a gun on me. So
Yeah.
I'm going home, and best of luck this evening.
God bless.
Peace. They
He
got
said,
the
yo, it's
fuck
getting
out.
dark. They said, all right, we out of here.
Yeah, ain't about to be
Yeah, they
sticking
was
around
gone,
here.
bro. They ain't sticking around for that shit,
But
bro.
I would love to see a 30-minute just mini prequel, just seeing what they was doing to Remick to get him to run all the way over there.
You know what they was doing to him.
And how he
Whooping
got
his
there,
ass.
like
It was whooping
because he
his
was
ass.
just in a field. There was just a field. There was nothing back there. So how he get there without dying before the sun got him? I don't know.
Ran his ass
Maybe
off is what he did. He ran his ass off. We all
maybe
we
the
all,
corn
we
was
all
so
have
thick it
we
helped.
all have run when we've been scared before. We've all been there. That's exactly what Remick did. Just
Well,
because
he
he's a
wasn't scared. He was
vampire
about to die.
don't mean he can't shit himself out of fear.
No,
Okay?
listen, he was flying his ass off. They was on horses.
It's like get the fuck up out of here, boy. Yikes.
Yeah, he was
No, they was
These
on.
be
natives,
dead, bro.
these natives is not with the bullshit. You hear me?
I mean, they hunted people. They know how to get the motherfuckers like him.
Honestly, moral of the story, we need to invite more natives to the cookout because I think had they been in the juke joint, with
No,
none
that's
of
a problem right there. Don't invite nobody to the fucking cookout.
that's
Don't
a
invite
fact.
nobody in the house.
That's a fact.
All right.
That's a fact.
Not even a chick who
Anybody,
can pass. And she be like, I'll be right back.
anybody who's supposed to be in here should be in here. They know how to get in here, and I'm not inviting nobody in here. All right.
I don't know, Nigel. Mary was dropping some bars on Stack. I mean, look, man, I don't know what you expect Stack to do. You expect the man to hold out all night, Nigel?
I don't know. I
She
don't
said.
know.
She said. So you can steal trains and banks, but you can't steal this pussy for
Yo,
one night. Come
coldest
on,
line.
bro.
Coldest line, bro.
Come on. I'd have been like,
Everybody talk about the Coos one, but that's the coldest
come
line. I
on,
would
man.
fold it
Third
too,
door on the
bro.
left. You know where it's at. Come on, hurry
I
up.
would
Nah.
have folded too.
And he talking that Creole, talking about your body ain't forget me.
No,
Told you,
that's
like a lawn chair.
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm folding every time. I'm folding with Perline. I'm folding with Annie, and I'm folding with Mary. I'm just
Shout out to the women in this.
I'm just a
Yeah, I
Yeah.
nasty,
gotta give
bro.
Mary love because my grandmother, my mother's mother, was so light she could pass, and then she married the darkest man on the planet, my grandfather.
She said,
So
"I'm gonna
shout out
remedy this. I'm gonna make sure ain't no questions next time around."
facts. Like people didn't believe that was my grandmother or that was my mom's mom because my mom is hella dark skinned too. So people didn't believe it. I'm like, no, that's my grandma. She black. Like she half black, half Native American. Well, that's not half. She's part
but
white,
nah,
part Native American, part black.
but nah. Shout out
She's
all the
black.
women in the movie minus Grace. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can get up out of
Like
there.
everybody minus her did their thing.
Yeah. She was like, "Oh, smoke woman." She walked over there with an attitude from the start. I'm like, "Oh, she gonna be a problem, man. Fuck out of here."
Oh nah, when Preacher Boy went to go check on him and he seen Shorty was on him, he busy in there, huh?
Yeah. He said,
Yeah, you
"What did he
busy.
say? They making love or something?" He's like, "No, I told you to go get him." He's like, "I ain't getting him by
I
myself."
ain't going there by myself.
I don't give a
He's
fuck what he doing. I told you. Tell him bring his ass here.
I was like, "Yo, little cousin knew like his big cousin want
Yo,
to
you
fuck
know what
him
that
up."
reminds me of? And I don't know if this is related at all. Y'all obviously y'all seen Enter the Dragon, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
When the British dude wakes up and he gets that message from Bruce Lee, and he's calling the guy. He's like, "Yeah, put Colonel so and so on the phone." Well, wake him up.
oh,
I don't care if he's not alone.
I don't give a bloody well damn who he's with.
Who is with?
You put him on the phone.
And then you get older, you're like, oh, bro was also bro was a little preoccupied, you know.
Yeah.
When you're younger, like what's going on there, Dad? You're like, don't worry.
He's like, nah, man.
Talking
I
about
don't care.
them
He
fucking
got
cheeks.
yeah. You tell him get off them cheeks, or the general gonna be on his ass. I ain't know about that.
But man, overall, man, this is movie of the year for me. One of my favorite movies I've seen, like one of my favorite new movies I've seen in a long time, man. It's again, man. We talked about all like the Negro spiritual stuff and just like it just hitting you all in the feels in a way that just like is almost unexplainable sometimes. And like I'm so grateful that like we have a film like this that like can capture some of those feelings that like we've had for forever.
And what I'll say too is even if you take that aspect away, just a fly standalone movie like from start to finish, it progresses well. I saw it again. I saw it twice in the same weekend. And one thing I noticed walking out of it the first time was like, bro, I don't even remember looking at my watch.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like
it was paced so well.
I felt like it was paced incredibly well to where I'm just in the story. It was like, oh, okay, I'm learning about the characters. Oh, okay, they building a juke joint.
Right.
Oh shit, I forgot there was vampires in here. Oh, now we deal with the vampire. Now I'm just in the story.
Right.
And I felt like they did such a great job of making it flow like that. And I don't know, the movie overall to me was just amazing, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm like, yo, before I saw it, I'm like 2 hours and 17. You know, I got
It didn't
kids
feel like
now,
that long to watch.
My time is precious, man. But then you get in there, you're like, oh, okay. All right, tell me more about this. Tell me more about that. I'm like, oh, vampire. Oh, yeah, vampires are here. Oh, okay. Oh, and that's where I love it because it ramps up once the shit gets started and the music and the technicality of everything just goes up to 11. And it's just.
I love a longer movie that doesn't feel that long.
Facts.
Yeah. Agreed.
Facts.
Because if it does feel long, then that means you probably got a lot of stale spots, like stuff where you're not executing well. And I just felt like everything was executed well here.
Because I've gone to movies
slow
this
motion
year.
of a shell falling for fucking
Yeah,
17
I've
seconds.
gone to movies that are
Looking at you, Batman versus
like,
Superman. Looking at you.
Don't get me started. in this film, bro. There's movies
Sorry,
out there
y'all.
that's only 90 minutes, and I'm like, yo, this shit feels like it's 3 hours. What is going on?
Just poor pacing.
But
Yeah, poor
Sinners, I'm
pacing.
just like rock solid. It's good from start to finish. I mean, it just has a familiarity to it. The music is on point. Every single song is on point. The dance, everything is just
You know,
dope.
I'm interested to see how this movie's gonna age. Like, I can't wait until it like comes out on like streaming, and I want to watch it like a year from now, 2 years from now. I really want to see how it ages. Like, if I watch it back 2, 3, 4, 5 times, if I pick up new things, I'm sure that I will, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of spiritual symbolism in this movie, and a lot
Yeah,
of things I'm sure we didn't even
a
touch
lot of
on this pod in
foreshadowing and
what an
shit.
hour and change. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love the movie. I'm interested to see how it ages, how it progresses, and how how it lasts in the fandom.
I'm interested to see that soundtrack. I'm probably have to grab it on vinyl when it drops.
Ooh, yeah, that would be good. That would be a good one
Yeah,
to grab
bro.
on vinyl.
That shit
Gonna
probably
need
gonna be
that.
crazy, bro. I mean, I'm bumping the soundtrack now in the car, and I'm like, damn, this shit is fire, man. Rocky Road to Dublin is my shit of all time. I Lied to
Tell
You
you,
is
man,
dope.
Remick had that joint busting out there.
Yo, you feel me, man?
Remick
Like,
was Remick was throwing it down out there. Though. I don't care what nobody say.
I mean, they
man.
was out there getting it. I just stayed inside, but
Like, just leave the door open, leave it cracked, yo. I just want to hear what they saying, yo.
You just
Yeah,
cracked the
okay.
window.
Yeah, all right, y'all bumping. Rocky Road to Dublin.
So,
I fuck with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, bump that shit, bro. Yo, he was killing that. And what's his name? Jack O'Connell talked about how he has a background in Irish dancing and shit. Like he was killing that.
it
I was like,
showed because
damn,
he was getting down. He
damn,
was getting
killer.
after it.
yeah, that was hilarious.
But
I
yeah,
was backing
anything
up. They
else
was
y'all
out there
want to put
jigging.
on it?
Nah,
Um,
man. I mean, I think we covered pretty much most of it. I mean, again, just I'm grateful for that a film like this exists. You know, fresh IP, um, predominantly black cast. I mean,
On and off
it
the
touched
screen.
it
I mean,
touched a
on
lot
and
of
off the
things
camera.
and behind the scenes. Yeah, it touched on a lot of things that I feel like speak directly to us. You
Mm.
know, in a way that is that's not always very common in media, and if it is, it's not as celebrated. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the kind of success something like this has had. You know what I mean? With a fresh IP, especially with something with a fresh IP. So, movie of the year.
Yeah.
agreed. Movie of the year. I loved it. It was a fresh IP. So many of these studios are just, oh, okay, let's go ahead and reboot Shrek for the 11th time
You
and
know that's
see
coming
if we
out.
can, yeah, and
Yeah,
see if we can stretch more money out of that. Like, no, somebody actually was like, no, this guy's a reputable director. He's got a reputable team. Let's go ahead and get him the budget they need to go ahead and do something fresh and do something new and not just keep pulling on the same cash cows and trying to wring them dry.
Yeah. With that being said, check out Superman coming out on July 17th, the reboot of Superman. But
I will be
um,
there though. I will be there though. All jokes
I
aside,
will not. You know,
I will be
I
there.
I I
I'm
will
not a
be there
Superman guy.
if to do nothing but criticize.
Come on, y'all.
I'm
Don't
not
be
a
like
Superman
that.
Well,
fan.
Chris, I told you
I'm not either,
I,
but I
I'm
want
not.
there needs to be a proper functioning DC universe on the big screen.
Look,
There
I want
needs
it
to
to be
be.
good, but you both know my thoughts from when I saw the first initial trailer. So I'm
Yeah,
just being honest. I want it to be good.
I want it to be good too. I
Did
want
you
it to
see
be
the
good
My
second
for.
hopes are
trailer?
not high. I did see the second trailer.
I
I
usually
did.
don't watch second trailers, but I watched this one and I was like,
You know what? You know what? How about this? How about we save it for a Superman trailer pod?
okay.
No, we'll say for a Superman movie pod when it drops.
Oh, we're certainly
Oh,
going to
now I
talk
gotta
about
see it.
Superman.
Now I gotta see it.
Yeah,
Shut up,
of
Nigel.
course
You're
you
gonna
got to
see
see
it
it.
anyway.
You're
You're
going
gonna
to see
see
it
it to
anyway.
complain.
Yeah, stop fronting.
What you? I was
You're gonna
not
see it to
saying
complain.
Superman.
Nigel, you're going
No,
to see Superman.
I mean I got critiques of Sinners, but I want to leave it on a high note, so I'm not gonna say nothing because I love the movie. You know, y'all know me. I got my
This
critiques.
this pod this pod is not about sinner slander. It's about sinners praise.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
do
So I'm
that.
gonna
You do
leave
that on
that.
your own time. You don't do that while I'm here.
You know,
But I love the movie. That being said, I love the movie and I recommend it. And I hope it wins Movie of the Year. I hope the Academies acknowledge it, even though I don't watch the Academy Awards because they're trash. But I believe it deserves all the awards for what's on the screen, man. It's fucking amazing, man. And I hope we get more movies like this that are made for the theater because I'm a theater guy. I try to see as many movies as I can in the theater. Sometimes that works out. Sometimes I'm like, why did I see this in the theater? But anyway, come on. We need more stuff like that. But yeah, my nomads, I hope you learned something. Go watch Sinners. Peace.
yeah,
Be
if you haven't
creative.
seen it by now, what the fuck are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing with your life?
I
Yeah,
know
get your
some
life together.
people who haven't seen it because they're like, oh, that's demonic. I'm not seeing that.
I think you're fucking demonic, dude. That's what I think.
And I'm like, bro, like, we could talk about it offline because I don't want to say names. But yeah. All right.
Well, thanks, Nigel. Pleasure having us here, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, as
For
always,
sure.
bro.
For sure. Peace.